Shalom Ashbeka. Thank you for joining me on my YouTube channel, Tina Ali Shaba. Today we'll be picking back up in the book of Jasher, or also known in the Cepher, Yashar, and we'll be reading chapters 6 through 10. And if you haven't already, grab your Cepher to follow along. Now let's get started. Chapter 6. At that time, after the death of Methuselah, Yahuwah said to Noah, "Go you with your household into the ark. Behold, I will gather to you all the animals of the earth, and the beasts of the field, and the fowls of the air, and they shall all come and surround the ark. And you shall go and seat yourself by the doors of the ark, and all the beasts, the animals, and the fowls shall assemble and place themselves before you, and such of them as shall come and crouch before you shall you take and deliver into the hands of your sons, who shall bring them to the ark. And all that will stand before you, you shall leave." And Yahuwah brought this about on the next day. And animals, beasts, and fowls came in great multitudes and surrounded the ark. And Noah went and seated himself by the door of the ark. And of all flesh that crouched before him, he brought into the ark, and all that stood before him he left upon earth. And a lioness came, and with her 2 whelps, male and female, and the 3 crouched before Noah. And the 2 whelps rose up against the lioness and smote her, and made her flee from her place. And she went away, and they returned to their places, and crouched upon the earth before Noah. And the lioness ran away and stood in the place of the lions. And Noah saw this, and wondered greatly, and he rose and took the 2 whelps, and brought them into the ark. And Noah brought into the ark from all living creatures that were upon earth, so that there was none left but which Noah brought into the ark. 2 and 2 came to Noah into the ark, but from the clean animals and clean fowls he brought 7 couples, as Yahuwah had commanded him. And all the animals and beasts and fowls were still there, and they surrounded the ark at every place, and the rain had not descended till 7 days after. And on that day Yahuwah caused the whole earth to shake, and the sun darkened, and the foundations of the world raged, and the whole earth was moved violently, and the lightning flashed, and the thunder roared, and all the fountains in the earth were broken up, such as was not known to the inhabitants before. And Yahuwah did this mighty act in order to terrify the sons of men, that there might be no more evil upon the earth. And still the sons of men would not return from their evil ways, and they increased the anger of Yahuwah at that time, and did not even direct their hearts to all this. And at the end of 7 days, in the 600th year of the life of Noah, the waters of the flood were upon the earth. And all the fountains of the deep were broken up, and the windows of heaven were opened, and the rain was upon the earth 40 days and 40 nights. And Noah and his household, and all the living creatures that were with him, came into the ark on account of the waters of the flood, and Yahuwah shut him in. And all the sons of men that were left upon the earth became exhausted through evil on account of the rain, for the waters were coming more violently upon the earth, and the animals and beasts were still surrounding the ark. And the sons of men assembled together, about 700,000 men and women, and they came unto Noah to the ark. And they called to Noah, saying, "Open for us that we may come to you in the ark. And wherefore shall we die?" And Noah with a loud voice answered them from the ark, saying, "Have you not all rebelled against Yahuwah, and says that he does not exist? And therefore Yahuwah brought upon you this evil to destroy you and cut you off from the face of the earth. Is it not this thing that I spoke to you of 120 years back? And you would not hearken to the voice of Yahuwah, And now do you desire to live upon earth? And they said to Noah, we are ready to return to Yahuwah. Only open for us that we may live and not die. And Noah answered them, saying, behold, now that you see the trouble of your souls, you wish to return to Yahuwah. Why did you not return during these 120 years which Yahuwah granted you as the determined period? But now you come and tell me this on account of the troubles of your souls. Now also Yahuwah will not listen to you, neither will he give ear to you on this day, so that you will not now succeed in your wishes. And the sons of men approached in order to break into the ark, to come in on account of the rain, for they could not bear the rain upon them. And Yahuwah sent all the beasts and animals that stood round the ark, and the beasts overpowered them, and drove them from that place. And every man went his way, and they again scattered themselves upon the face of the earth. And the rain was still descending upon the earth, and it descended 40 days and 40 nights, and the waters prevailed greatly upon the earth. And all flesh that was upon the earth, or in the waters, died, whether men, animals, beasts, creeping things, or birds of the air. And there only remained Noah and those that were with him in the ark. And the waters prevailed, and they greatly increased upon the earth. And they lifted up the ark, and it was raised from the earth. And the ark floated upon the face of the waters, and it was tossed upon the waters, so that all the living creatures within were turned about like pottage in a cauldron. And great anxiety seized all the living creatures that were in the ark, and the ark was like to be broken. And all the living creatures that were in the ark were terrified, and the lions roared, the oxen lowed, and the wolves howled, and every living creature in the ark spoke and lamented in its own language, so that their voices reached to a great distance. And Noah and his sons cried and wept in their troubles. They were greatly afraid that they had reached the gates of death. And Noah prayed unto Yahuwah, and cried unto him on account of this. And he said, O Yahuwah, help us, for we have no strength to bear this evil that has encompassed us. For the waves of the waters have surrounded us. Mischievous torrents have terrified us. The snares of death have come before us. Answer us, O Yahuwah, answer us. Light up your countenance towards us, and be gracious to us. Redeem us and deliver us. And Yahuwah hearkened to the voice of Noah, and Yahuwah remembered him. And a wind passed over the earth, and the waters were still, and the ark rested. And the fountains of the deep and the windows of heaven were stopped, and the rain from heaven was restrained. And the waters decreased in those days, and the ark rested upon the mountains of Ararat. And Noah then opened the windows of the ark, and Noah still called out to Yahuwah at that time, and he said, O Yahuwah, who did form the earth and the heavens and all that are therein, bring forth our souls from this confinement and from the prison wherein you have placed us, for I am much wearied with sighing. And Yahuwah hearkened to the voice of Noah and said to him, When you shall have completed a full year, you shall go forth. And at the revolution of the year, and when a full year was completed to Noah's dwelling in the ark, the waters were dried from off the earth, and Noah put off the covering of the ark. At that time, on the 27th day of the second month, the earth was dry, but Noah and his sons and those that were with him did not go out from the ark until Yahuwah told them. And the day came that Yahuwah told them to go out, and they all went from the ark. And they went and returned everyone to his way and to his place. And Noah and his sons dwelt in the land that Yahuwah had told them, and they served Yahuwah all their days. And Yahuwah blessed Noah and his sons on their going out from the ark. And he said to them, Be fruitful and fill all the earth. Become strong and increase abundantly in the earth, and multiply therein. Chapter 7. And these are the names of the sons of Noach: Japheth, Cam, and Shem. And children were born to them after the flood, for they had taken women before the flood. These are the sons of Japheth: Gimmer, Magog, Madai, Yavin, Tubal, Meshach, and Thrak, 7 sons. And the sons of Gimmer were Ashkenaz, Riphath, and Togarmah. And the sons of Magog were Eli, Kanaf, and Lubal. And the children of Madai were Achan, Zielo, Kazani, and Lot. And the sons of Yavin were Elisha, Tarshish, Kittim, and Dodanim. And the sons of Tubal were Ariphi, Kasid, and Ta'ari. And the sons of Meshach were Dadan, Zaran, and Shivnashni. And the sons of Thrak were Benev, Gerah, Luper-Yaran, and Galak. These are the sons of Japheth according to their families, and their numbers in those days were about 460 men. And these are the sons of Cam: Cush, Mitzrayim, Put, and Canaan, 4 sons. And the sons of Cush were Seba, Kavila, Kafta, Rama, Kaftika. And the sons of Rama were Sheva and Dedan. And the sons of Mitzrayim were Ludim, Anamim, and Pathrusim, Kakukim, and Kaphtorim. And the sons of Put were Gavul, Hadan, Bana, and Adan. And the sons of Kenan were Sidon, Keth, Emery, Girgashi, Kavi, Arki, Zenai, Arvadi, Zemari, and Kammethi. These are the sons of Cam according to their families, and their numbers in those days were about 730 men. And these are the sons of Shem: Elam, Ashur, Arpachshad, Ludi, Aram, 5 sons. And the sons of Elam were Shushan, Makal, and Harman. And the sons of Ashur were Miris and Makol. And the sons of Arpachshad were Shalak, Anar, and Ashkol. And the sons of Ludi were Pethor and Bez-Zayan. And the sons of Aram were Utz, Kul, Gather, and Mash. These are the sons of Shem according to their families, and their numbers in those days were about 300 men. These are the generations of Shem. Shem begat Arpachshad, and Arpachshad begat Shalak, and Shalak begat Eber, and to Eber were born 2 children. The name of one was Peleg, for in his days the sons of men were divided, and in the latter days the earth was divided. And the name of the second was Yoktan, meaning that in his day the lives of the sons of men were diminished and lessened. These are the sons of Yoktan: Almadad, Shalef, Kazar-Moveth, Yerak, Hadaram, Uzel, Dikla, Ovel, Avimelech, Sheva, Ophir, Kavila, and Yovav. All these are the sons of Yoktan. And Peleg his brother begat Ru, and Ru begat Serug, and Serug begat Nachor, and Nachor begat Tarak, and Tarak was 38 years old, and he begat Haran and Nachor. And Cush, the son of Cam, the son of Noach, took a woman in those days, in his old age, and she bore a son, and they called his name Nimrod, saying, At that time the sons of men began to rebel and transgress against Yahuwah. And the child grew up, and his father loved him exceedingly, for he was the son of his old age. And the garments of skin which Yahuwah made for Adam and his woman, when they went out of the garden, were given to Cush. For after the death of Adam and his woman, the garments were given to Canak, the son of Yared, And when Canak was taken up to Yahuwah, he gave them to Methuselah, his son. And at the death of Methuselah, Noach took them and brought them to the ark, and they were with him until he went out of the ark. And in their going out, Cam stole those garments from Noach his father, and he took them and hid them from his brothers. And when Cam begat his firstborn Cush, he gave him the garments in secret, and they were with Cush many days. And Cush also concealed them from his sons and brothers. And when Cush had begotten Nimrod, he gave him those garments through his love for him. And Nimrod grew up, and when he was 20 years old, he put on those garments. And Nimrod became strong when he put on the garments. And Yahuwah gave him might and strength, and he was a mighty hunter in the earth. Yes, he was a mighty hunter in the field, and he hunted the animals, and he built altars, and he offered upon them the animals before Yahuwah. And Nimrod strengthened himself, and he rose up from against his brethren, and he fought the battles of his brethren against all their enemies round about. And Yahuwah delivered all the enemies of his brethren in his hands, and Yahuwah prospered him from time to time in his battles, and he reigned upon the earth. Therefore it became current in those days, when a man ushered forth those that he had trained up for battle, he would say to them, like Yahuwah did to Nimrod, who was a mighty hunter in the earth, and who succeeded in the battles that prevailed against his brethren, that he delivered them from the hands of their enemies. So may Yahuwah strengthen us and deliver us this day. And when Nimrod was 40 years old, at that time there was a war between his brethren and the children of Japheth, so that they were in the power of their enemies. And Nimrod went forth at that time, and he assembled all the sons of Cush and their families, about 460 men. And he hired also from some of his friends and acquaintances about 80 men, and he gave them their hire, and he went with them to battle. And when he was on the road, Nimrod strengthened the hearts of the people that went with him. And he said to them, do not fear, neither be alarmed, for all our enemies will be delivered into our hands, and you may do with them as you please. And all the men that were about 500, and they fought against their enemies, and they destroyed them and subdued them. And Nimrod placed standing officers over them in their respective places. And he took some of their children as security, and they were all servants to Nimrod and to his brethren. And Nimrod and all the people that were with him turned homeward. And when Nimrod had joyfully returned from battle, having conquered his enemies and all his brethren, together with those who knew him before, assembled to make him king over them. And they placed the regal crown upon his head. And he set over his subjects and people, princes, judges, and rulers, as is the custom among kings. And he placed Tarak, the son of Nachor, the prince of his host. And he dignified him and elevated him above all his princes. And while he was reigning according to his heart's desire, after having conquered all his enemies around, he advised with his counselors to build a city for his palace, and they did so. And they found a large valley opposite to the east, and they built him a large and extensive city. And Nimrod called the name of the city that he built Shinar, for Yahuwah had vehemently shaken his enemies and destroyed them. And Nimrod dwelt in Shinar, and he reigned securely, and he fought with his enemies, and he subdued them, and he prospered in all his battles, and his kingdom became very great. And all nations and tongues heard of his fame, and they gathered themselves to him, and they bowed down to the earth, and they brought him offerings, and he became their Adonai and king. And they all dwelt with him in the city of Shinar, and Nimrod reigned in the earth over all the sons of Noach, and they were all under his power and counsel. And all the earth was of one tongue and words of union, but Nimrod did not go in the ways of Yahuwah, and he was more wicked than all the men that were before him, from the days of the flood into those days. And he made Elohim of wood and stone, and he bowed down to them, and he rebelled against Yahuwah, and taught all his subjects and the people of the earth his wicked ways. And Mardan his son was more wicked than his father. And everyone that heard of the acts of Mardan, the son of Nimrod, would say concerning him, From the wickedness goes forth wickedness. Therefore it became a proverb in the whole earth, saying, From the wickedness goes forth wickedness. And it was current in the words of men from that time to this. And Terach the son of Nachor, prince of Nimrod's host, was in those days very great in the sight of the king and his subjects. And the king and princes loved him, and they elevated him very high. And Terach took a woman, and her name was Amthalo, the daughter of Cornabo. And the woman of Terach conceived and bore him a son in those days. Terach was 70 years old when he begat him. And Terach called the name of his son that was born to him Abram, because the king had raised him in those days and dignified him above all his princes that were with him. Chapter 8. And it was in the night that Abram was born, that all the servants of Terach and all the wise men of Nimrod and his conjurers came and ate and drank in the house of Terach, and they rejoiced with him on that night. And when all the wise men and conjurers went out from the house of Terach, they lifted up their eyes toward heaven that night to look at the stars, and they saw, and behold, one very large star came from the east and ran in the heavens, and he swallowed up the 4 stars from the 4 sides of the heavens. And all the wise men of the king and his conjurers were astonished at the sight. And the sages understood this matter, and they knew its import. And they said to each other, This only betokens the child that has been born to Terach this night, who will grow up and be fruitful and multiply, and possess all the earth, he and his children forever, and he and his seed will slay great kings and inherit their lands. And the wise men and conjurers went home that night. And in the morning all these men and conjurers rose up early and assembled in an appointed house. And they spoke and said to each other, Behold, the sight that we saw last night is hidden from the king. It has not been made known to him. And should this thing get known to the king in the latter days, he will say to us, Why have you concealed this matter from me? And then we shall all suffer death. Therefore, now let us go and tell the king the sight which we saw and the interpretation thereof, and we shall then remain clear. And they did so, and they all went to the king and bowed down to the ground. And they said, May the king live, may the king live. We heard that a son was born to Terach, the son of Nachor, the prince of your hosts. And we yesternight came to his house, and we ate and drank and rejoiced with him that night. And when your servants went out from the house of Terach to go to our respective homes to abide there for the night, we lifted up our eyes to heaven, and we saw a great star coming from the east. And the same star ran with great speed and swallowed up 4 great stars from the 4 sides of the heavens. And your servants were astonished at the sight which we saw, and were greatly terrified, and we made our judgment upon the sight, and knew by our wisdom the proper interpretation thereof, that this thing applies to the child that is born to Terach, who will grow up and multiply greatly, and become powerful, and kill all the kings of the earth, and inherit all their lands, he and his seed forever. And now, our Adonai and King, behold, we have truly acquainted you with what we have seen concerning this child. If it seems good to the king to give his father value for this child, we will slay him before he shall grow up, and increase in the land, and his evil increase against us, that we and our children perish through his evil. And the king heard their words, and they seemed good in his sight. And he sent and called for Terach, and Terach came before the king. And the king said to Terach, I have been told that a son was yesternight born to you, and after this manner was observed in the heavens at his birth. And now therefore give me the child, that we may slay him before his evil springs up against us. And I will give you for his value, and your house full of silver and gold. And Turach answered the king and said to him, My Adonai and king, I have heard your words, and your servant shall do all that his king desires. But, my Adonai and king, I will tell you what happened to me yesternight, that I may see what advice the king will give his servant. And then I will answer the king upon what he has just spoken. And the king said, Speak. And Turach said to the king, Ayan, son of Nimrod, came to me yesternight, saying, Give unto me the great and beautiful horse that the king gave you, and I will give you silver and gold, and straw and provender for its value. And I said to him, Wait till I see the king concerning your words, and behold, whatsoever the king says, that will I do. And now, my Adonai and king, behold, I have made this thing known to you, and the advice which my king will give unto his servant, that will I follow. And the king heard the words of Turach, and his anger was kindled, and he considered him in the light of a fool. And the king answered Turach, and he said to him, Are you so silly, ignorant, or deficient in understanding to do this thing? To give your beautiful horse for silver and gold, or even for straw and provender? Are you so short of silver and gold that you should do this thing because you cannot obtain straw and provender to feed your horse? And what is silver and gold to you, or straw and provender, that you should give away that fine horse which I gave you, like which there is none to be had on the whole earth? And the king left off speaking, and Turach answered the king, saying, Like this has the king spoken to his servant. I beseech you, my Adonai and king, what is this which you did say unto me, saying, Give your son, that we may slay him, and I will give you silver and gold for his value? What shall I do with silver and gold after the death of my son? Who shall inherit me? Surely then at my death the silver and gold will return to my king, who gave it. And when the king heard the words of Turach, and the parable which he brought concerning the king, it grieved him greatly, and he was vexed at this thing, and his anger burned within him. And Turach saw that the anger of the king was kindled against him, and he answered the king, saying, All that I have is in the king's power. Whatsoever the king desires to do to his servant, that let him do. Yes, even my son. He is in the king's power. Without value in exchange, he and his 2 brothers that are older than he. And the king said to Turach, No, but I will purchase your younger son for a price. And Turach answered the king, saying, I beseech you, my Adonai and king, to let your servant speak a word before you, and let the king hear the word of his servant. And Turach said, Let my king give me 3 days' time to consider this matter within myself, and consult with my family concerning the words of my king. And he pressed the king greatly to agree to this. And the king hearkened to Turach, and he did so, and he gave him 3 days' time. And Turach went out from the king's presence, and he came home to his family, and spoke to them all the words of the king, and the people were greatly afraid. And it was in the 3rd day that the king sent to Turach, saying, Send me your son for a price, as I spoke to you. And should you not do this, I will send and slay all you have in your house, so that you shall not even have a dog remaining. And Turach hastened, as the thing was urgent from the king, and he took a child from one of his servants, which his handmaid had borne to him that day. And Turach brought the child to the king, and received value for him. And Yahuwah was with Turach in this matter, that Nimrod might not cause Abram's death. And the king took the child from Turach, and with all his might dashed his head to the ground, for he thought he had been Abram. And this was concealed from him from that day, and it was forgotten by the king, as it was the will of the providence not to suffer Abram's death. And Terach took Abram his son secretly, together with his mother and nurse, and he concealed them in a cave, and he brought them their provisions monthly. And Yahuwah was with Abram in the cave, and he grew up. And Abram was in the cave 10 years. And the king and his princes, soothsayers and sages, thought that the king had killed Abram. Chapter 9. And Haran, the son of Terach, Avram's oldest brother, took a woman in those days. Haran was 39 years old when he took her. And the woman of Haran conceived and bore a son, and he called his name Lot. And she conceived again and bore a daughter, and she called her name Milcah. And she again conceived and bore a daughter, and she called her name Sarai. Haran was 42 years old when he begot Sarai, which was in the 10th year of the life of Abram. And in those days Abram and his mother and nurse went out from the cave, as the king and his subjects had forgotten the affair of Abram. And when Abram came out from the cave, he went to Noach and his son Shem, and he remained with them to learn the instruction of Yahuwah and his ways. And no man knew where Abram was. And Abram served Noach and Shem, his son, for a long time. And Abram was in Noach's house 39 years, and Abram knew Yahuwah from 3 years old, and he went in the ways of Yahuwah until the day of his death, as Noach and his son Shem had taught him. And all the sons of the earth in those days greatly transgressed against Yahuwah, and they rebelled against him, and they served other Elohim, and they forgot Yahuwah, who had created them in the earth. And the inhabitants of the earth made unto themselves, at that time, every man his Elohim, Elohim of wood and stone, which could neither speak, hear, nor deliver, and the sons of men served them, and they became their Elohim. And the king and all his servants, and Terach with all his household, were then the first of those that served Elohim of wood and stone. And Terach had 12 Elohim of large size, made of wood and stone, after the 12 months of the year, and he served each one monthly, and every month Terach would bring his oblation and drink offerings to his Elohim. Thus did Terach all the days. And all that generation were wicked in the sight of Yahuwah, and they thus made every man his Elohim, but they forsook Yahuwah who had created them. And there was not a man found in those days in the whole earth who knew Yahuwah, for they served each man his own Elohim, except Noach and his household, and all those who were under his counsel knew Yahuwah in those days. And Abram the son of Terach was waxing great in those days in the house of Noach, and no man knew it, and Yahuwah was with him. And Yahuwah gave Abram an understanding heart, and he knew all the works of that generation were vain, and that all their Elohim were vain and were of no avail. And Abram saw the sun shining upon the earth. And Abram said to himself, surely now this sun that shines upon the earth is Elohim, and him will I serve. And Abram served the sun in that day, and he prayed to him. And when evening came, the sun set as usual, and Abram said within himself, surely this cannot be Yahuwah. And Abram still continued to speak within himself, who is he who made the heavens and the earth? Who created upon earth? Where is he? And night darkened over him, and he lifted up his eyes towards the west, the north, south, and east. And he saw that the sun had vanished from the earth, and the day became dark. And Abram saw the stars and moon before him, and he said, surely this is Yahuwah who created the whole earth, as well as man. And behold, these his servants are Elohim around him. And Abram served the moon and prayed to it all that night. And in the morning when it was light and the sun shone upon the earth as usual, Abram saw all the things that Yahuwah had made upon the earth. And Abram said unto himself, Surely these are not Elohim that made the earth and all mankind, but these are the servants of Yahuwah. And Abram remained in the house of Noach, and there knew Yahuwah and his ways, and he served Yahuwah all the days of his life. And all that generation forgot Yahuwah, and served other Elohim of wood and stone, and rebelled all their days. And King Nimrod reigned securely, and all the earth was under his control. And all the earth was of one tongue and words of union. And all the princes of Nimrod and his great men took counsel together, Put, Mitzrayim, Cush, and Canaan with their families. And they said to each other, Come, let us build ourselves a city, and in it a strong tower, and its top reaching heaven, and we will make ourselves famed, so that we may reign upon the whole world, in order that the evil of our enemies may cease from us, that we may reign mightily over them, and that we may not become scattered over the earth on account of their wars. And they all went before the king, and they told the king these words, and the king agreed with them in this affair, and he did so. And all the families assembled, consisting of 600,000 men, and they went to seek an extensive piece of ground to build the city and the tower. And they sought in the whole earth, and they found none like one valley at the east of the land of Shinar, about a 2 days' walk, and they journeyed there, and they dwelt there. And they began to make bricks and burn fires to build the city and the tower that they had imagined to complete. And the building of the tower was unto them a transgression and a sin, and they began to build it. And while they were building against Yahuwah of heaven, they imagined in their hearts to war against him and to ascend into heaven. And all these people and all the families divided themselves in 3 parts. The first said, We will ascend into heaven and fight against him. The second said, We will ascend to heaven and place our own Elohim there and serve them. And the third part said, We will ascend to heaven and smite him who bows and spears. And Yahuwah knew all their works and all their evil thoughts, and he saw the city and the tower which they were building. And when they were building, they built themselves a great city and a very high and strong tower. And on account of its height, the mortar and bricks did not reach the building in their ascent to it, until those who went up had completed a full year, and after that they reached to the builders and gave them the mortar and the bricks. Thus was it done daily. And behold, these ascended and others descended the whole day, and if a brick should fall from their hands and get broken, they would all weep over it. And if a man fell and died, none of them would look at him. And Yahuwah knew their thoughts. And it came to pass, when they were building, they cast the arrows towards the heavens, and all the arrows fell upon them filled with blood. And when they saw them, they said to each other, Surely we have slain all those that are in heaven. For this was from Yahuwah, in order to cause them to err, and in order to destroy them from off the face of the ground. And they built the tower and the city, and they did this thing daily until many days and years were elapsed. And Yahuwah said to the 70 angels who stood foremost before him, to those who were near to him, saying, Come, let us descend and confuse their tongues, that one man shall not understand the language of his neighbor. And they did so unto them. And from that day following, they forgot each man his neighbor's tongue, and they could not understand to speak in one tongue. And when the builder took from the hands of his neighbor lime or stone which he did not order, the builder would cast it away and throw it upon his neighbor, that he would die. And they did so many days, and they killed many of them in this manner. And Yahuwah smote the 3 divisions that were there, and he punished them according to their works and designs. Those who said, We will ascend to heaven and serve our Elohim, became like apes and elephants. And those who said, We will smite the heaven with arrows, Yahuwah killed them, one man through the hand of his neighbor. And the 3rd division of those who said, We will ascend to heaven and fight against him, Yahuwah scattered them throughout the earth. And those who were left amongst them, when they knew and understood the evil which was coming upon them, they forsook the building, and they also became scattered upon the face of the whole earth. And they ceased building the city and the tower. Therefore he called that place Babel, for there Yahuwah confounded the language of the whole earth. Behold, it was at the east of the land of Shinar. And as to the tower which the sons of men built, the earth opened its mouth and swallowed up 1/3 part thereof, and a fire descended from heaven and burned another third. And the other third is left to this day. And it is of that part which is aloft, and its circumference is 3 days' walk. And many of the sons of men died in that tower, a people without number. Chapter 10. And Peleg the son of Eber died in those days, in the 48th year of the life of Abram, son of Terach. And all the days of Peleg were 239 years. And when Yahuwah had scattered the sons of men on account of their sin at the tower, behold, they spread forth into many divisions. And all the sons of men were dispersed into the 4 corners of the earth. And all the families became each according to its language, its land, or its city. And the sons of men built many cities according to their families, in all the places where they went, and throughout the earth where Yahuwah had scattered them. And some of them built cities in places from which they were afterward extirpated. And they called these cities after their own names, or the names of their children, or after their particular occurrences. And the sons of Japheth, the son of Noach, went and built themselves cities in the places where they were scattered. And they called all their cities after their names. And the sons of Japheth were divided upon the face of the earth into many divisions and languages. And these are the sons of Japheth according to their families: Gimmer, Magog, Madai, Yavin, Tubal, Meshach, Thirach. These are the children of Japheth according to their generations. And the children of Gimmer according to their cities were the Francum, who dwell in the land of Phraza, by the river Franza, by the river Sanah. And the children of Rephath are the Bartanim, who dwell in the land of Bartonia, by the river Leda, which empties its water in the great sea Gikon, that is Oceanus. And the children of Tagarmah are 10 families. And these are the names: Bazar, Parzanak, Balgar, Alikanum, Ragbib, Tarki, Bid, Zavak, Angal, and Tamaz. All these spread and rested in the north and built themselves cities. And they called their cities after their own names. Those are they who abide by the rivers Hifla and Atalak unto this day. But the families of Angoli, Bagar, and Parzunak, they dwell by the great river Dubni, and the names of their cities are also according to their own names. And the children of Yavin are the Yavanim, who dwell in the land of Macedonia, and the children of Madai are the Aralam, that dwell in the land of Curson, and the children of Tubal are those that dwell in the land of Tuscana by the river Pashia. The children of Meshech are the Shivnashi, and the children of Thirach are Rashash, Cushni, and Angolis. All these went and built themselves cities. Those are the cities that they situate by the sea Yavak, by the river Korah, which empties itself into the river Tragan. And the children of Elisha are the Almanim, and they also went and built themselves cities. Those are the cities situate between the mountains of Yov and Shivathmo, and they conquered the land of Atalia and remained there unto this day. And the children of Kittim are the Romain, who dwell in the valley of Canopia by the river Tibru. And the children of Donanim are those that dwell in the cities of the sea of Gikon in the land of Bordna. These are the families of the children of Japheth according to their cities and languages, when they were scattered after the tower, and they called their cities after their names and occurrences. And these are the names of all their cities according to their families, which they built in those days after the tower. And the children of Chem were Cush, Mitzrayim, Put, Canaan, according to their generation and cities. All these went and built themselves cities as they found fit places for them. And they called their cities after their names of their fathers, Cush, Mitzrayim, Put, and Canaan. And the children of Mitzrayim are the Ludi, the Anamim, the Lahavim, the Naktukim, the Pathrusim, Kaklukim, and Kaphtorim, 7 families. All of these dwell by the river Shakor, that is the brook of Mitzrayim, and they built themselves cities and called them after their own names. And the children of Pathrak and Kakuk intermarried together, and from them went forth the Pelishtim, and the Gazathim, and the Gargarim, the Getim, and the Enranim, in all 5 families. These also built themselves cities, and they called their cities after the names of their fathers unto this day. And the children of Canaan also built themselves cities, and they called their cities after their names, 11 cities, and others without number. And 4 men from the family of Cam went to the land of the plain. These are the names of the 4 men: Saddam, Amorah, Admah, and Sivan. And these men built themselves 4 cities in the land of the plain, and they called the names of their cities after their own names. And they and their children and all belonging to them dwelt in those cities. And they were fruitful and multiplied greatly and dwelt peaceably. And Seir the son of Kori, son of Kavi, son of Canaan, went and found a valley opposite to Mount Paran, and he built a city there. He and his 7 sons and his household dwelt there. And he called the city which he built Seir, according to his name, that is, the land of Seir, unto this day. These are the families of the children of Cam, according to their languages and cities, when they were scattered to their countries after the tower. And some of the children of Shem, son of Noach, father of all the children of Eber, also went and built themselves cities in the places wherein they were scattered, and they called their cities after their names. And the sons of Shem were Elam, Ashur, Arpachshad, Ludi, and Aram. And they built themselves cities and called the names of all their cities after their names. And Ashur, son of Shem, and his children and his household went forth at that time, a very large body of them, and they went to a distant land that they found, and they met with a very extensive valley in the land that they went to. And they built themselves 4 cities, and they called them after their own names and occurrences. And these are the names of the cities which the children of Ashur built: Nineveh, Resin, Kalak, and Rephkavoth. And the children of Ashur dwell there unto this day. And the children of Aram also went and built themselves a city, and they called the name of the city Uz after their eldest brother, and they dwell therein, that is, the land of Uz, to this day. And in the 2nd year after the tower, a man from the house of Ashur, whose name was Bela, went from the land of Nineveh to sojourn with his household wherever he could find a place. And they came until opposite of the city of the circle of the Yarden against Saddam, and they dwelt there. And the man rose up and built there a small city, and called its name Bela, after his name, that is, the land of Zoar, unto this day. And these are the families of the children of Shem, according to their language and cities, after they were scattered upon the earth after the tower. And every kingdom, city, and family of the families of the children of Noach built themselves many cities after this. And they established governments in all their cities, in order to be regulated by their orders. So did all the families of the children of Noach forever. This concludes the reading of the Cepher of Yashar, chapters 6 through 10. Hallelujah. Hallelujah. So Mashpaka, there is so much happening in these 5 chapters, and obviously each chapter is going to build upon the next. If you're new to the channel, have you read the Cepher of Yashar before, or the book of Jasher? If it's your first time, post it in the comments. And if you read it before, is there anything that has stood out to you this time that maybe didn't before? What lessons, and this is for anybody, what lessons did you learn, or what are the key takeaways between all these chapters? I'm just going to point out a couple things and not even go into it, but think about, one of the sons of Shem, which is Japheth, and it exposed how Ashkenaz is a descendant, and the Ashkenazis, the modern to this day, are the those that dwell in modern day Israel. They're the Revelation 2 and 3 Niners, if you will. And then you have like a shore that speaks to Nineveh. That's where Nineveh comes from. There's so much that I can bring up here, but I think, again, with the point of reading the book of Jasher, or the Cepher of Yashar, is ultimately to give us insight on what it looks like to walk upright in Yahuwah's sight, to live a righteous life. And these last few chapters have definitely, Abraham, at this point is now Abram, has showed up on the scene. And we see that, he was brought up in learning the ways of Yahuwah through living with Noach and Shem. So I want you guys to be very, just keep that in the back of your mind as we continue to read on. Moving forward, you're going to see that that's a reoccurring theme, that each patriarch, up to a certain point, will end up studying under their forefather to learn the ways of Yahuwah. And that is a blessing, because as we go to the next reading, you're going to see why that was important, and how it became a game changer for Abram in the coming chapters. Hallelujah. So again, post any revelation you have in the comments, because obviously we're here to be a blessing to each other. And so if there's any insight or revelation, please share. Would love that. If you're new to this channel, welcome. If you want to catch up in any other readings and other books from the Cepher, check out the playlist. And also, if you haven't already, please share, like, and subscribe. Ane ahabata mashbeka, I love you, family. Yahuwah barakata. Yahuwah bless you. Shalom.